Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, J-Mo, Jordan Moore at Jordan Moore _21. If you're not following on Twitter, I'm Rusty, Big Orange Rusty. This isn't going to be very fun, is it, Jordan?
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Yeah, it kind of stung the other night, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was ugly. And it was more surprising that it come off of a bye week.
Yeah. Yeah, just so many things weren't what we all expected. Hopefully they can get all corrected. That's the good news is nothing that happened isn't correctable. But they definitely got to get in there and correct it. Anything else you want to add before we dig into the offensive plays from the ball game and break that down tonight and look at all these offensive plays and tell you what we see on each one of them?
Yeah, I would just say that there's been a lot of talk, really since Saturday night that it's all the offensive line or it's all Nico or it's all Hop on his play calling. I think it's a combination of all three, and you'll see that when we go through these plays. One play it's going to be the offensive line just not giving Nico enough time. One play it's going to be there's a receiver open and Nico just doesn't let it rip. And then one play it's going to be just, in my opinion, a bad play call from the coaching staff. And when you combine that all in one game, Saturday night is what you end up getting.
Yeah. There was I think you're right. I think it's so many things. I think the not adjusting to what Arkansas did defensively was a problem. There's some times where there's throws there to be made and the eyes didn't get to the right spot to see the person that made the throw to. There's times when we just whiffed on some blocks, running backs not picking up their responsibility. I mean, it was a plethora. Still should have won the ball game. Didn't manage some timeouts correctly. Let's look. We'll get into that probably at the very end because that's where the video is going to lead us, I think. I'm just making sure we're all up on all our places. You can go over and watch us on YouTube, Big Orange Breakdown channel. If you're not looking at the Big Orange Breakdown channel on YouTube, please do. Please smash that heart, smash that thumbs up, whatever it may be, the like, the share, the subscribe, all those good things. J-Mo's got it live on his Twitter page right now. What we're doing, we're live with you guys tonight. So let's just dig into it. Give me about 2 seconds. I'll get the screen shared here. Get us off your screen. I'm sure you don't want to see our faces any more than you have to. So let me do that. And I'm going to get us down out of the way. And I'm going to stop sharing screen. So this is play number 2 of the ball game. That's where we're starting from. Couldn't get it to link up with that first play of the ball game where we hit a nice play. I think it was to Brazil on a deep comeback. That was a pretty nice gain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Carrick just wandered 2 3/4 yards down the field, which is just a hair too far, and it got called. Clearly, I want to hear your take on this. I think opposing coaches have went to officials before ball games and just respectfully said, "Hey, you got to watch Tennessee on some of their RPO stuff. Some of their guys leak downfield whenever they pull it and throw it." Same way they were going last year and saying, "Hey, when Tennessee throws their bubbles, if the receiver happens to catch the ball a yard across the line of scrimmage, it's offensive PI because their guys are blocking for him. And if the guy catching the ball is behind the line of scrimmage, then you're allowed to block downfield. But if he catches it on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and coaches were doing that a ton last year. So I think that's probably what's going on with that. But nevertheless, we're already in 1st and 15 after that small faux pas.
Yeah, and I'll add too, Rusty, that that first play was, I think, the only play of the game where the play call rolled Nico out of the pocket. That play call rolled him out of the pocket. It was part of the play. And I was kind of surprised that with as much pressure as Arkansas was getting in this game, why they didn't call more plays of getting him out of the pocket and away from the pressure.
Yep, you're completely right. Didn't happen anymore the rest of the night. Not to my recollection. The video probably will tell us all that. But this is your first play. I believe we're just going to run a simple handoff. They're showing 1, 2, 3 odd man front with 3 linebackers, 5 DBs, similar to what we saw from NC State. And if I'm not mistaken, good old Sam Pittman said we're going to use some of the stuff that NC State did. He told us. And what did we do with NC State? We went to 2 tight ends and 2 receivers and said, sure, stay in that. We're going to pound you in the face. And we did it so on our way to scoring 44 offensive points. No. Yeah, 51 offensive points. We didn't score. No, 44 offensive points. I forgot the pick 6.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I know the game plan coming in this, we were going to play 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 1 back, 3 receivers. And we wanted to attack Arkansas based on what they normally do. But they showed us pretty early, this is the second play of the ball game. They weren't playing their base defense. They were doing what NC State did, and why we didn't go 12 personnel with the 2 tight ends the same way we did that night to just run downhill right at them with 7 big bodies blocking 6 bodies, 3 of them being linebackers, 3 of them being defensive linemen. That's the whole point of what we did against NC State, and the new thing we can do because we have 3 quality tight ends now. I thought that was the first mistake of the ball game by the coaching staff was not getting in 12 by maybe the 3rd possession at the latest.
And to add to your point, we were talking before we came on here about this being very similar to the NC State game plan defensively. And we were talking about how Oklahoma didn't run a ton of odd men front, but they changed it up when they faced us. The difference in their game plan and then NC State and Arkansas's game plan is Oklahoma brought way more late pressure into the box right before the snap or right after the snap to try to slow down our run game. Watching this, Arkansas didn't do as much of that. They played way more coverage like NC State did than compared to what Oklahoma did. And it goes back to your point of why not go to the 12 personnel and just pound them into submission running the football like you did against NC State. You have to be able to adjust in these games. And it felt like we had one game plan going into this game, and we were just going to stick with that game plan no matter what.
Totally agree. I don't think I think Josh behind closed doors, Coach Heupel would probably tell you probably should have went 12. We come out in the second half and we were still in 11 and we scored 2 touchdowns. The second drive, of course, was helped by a couple 30 yards worth of personal foul penalties, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and dive in. So again, 3 down linemen, 3 backs. We're in 11, 1 tight end, 1 running back. You got 3 receivers out there. Doesn't go real well. This is your second down play. And actually, hold on 1 second. I'm going to just stop sharing for just 1 second while I make a quick adjustment. Slow down the speed of the game a little bit here. We can see a little bit more and do a little bit better. Well, all right. We all good, Jordan? You see good? So on this play, this is second and 11. So we're in second and 11. As everybody sees, it gets to second and 16 because When it was second and 11, we have a false start right here. So they're showing a 4-man front on this one with one guy with his hand off the ground. Now, what they do a lot tonight is they show this guy right here. They show this guy right here that he's actually a 4th front, and he drops off, and they shift into an odd front. They do it a lot. But they were just showing us until we got a little later, until Nico got ready to snap. It's a 4-man front. It's even, and then they would switch to the odd, and we weren't adjusting to it correctly.
And Lance Hurd got it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Lance Hurd got
it. Hurd false started.
Yeah, so I was going to say Lance Hurd got 2 false start penalties by their shifting their front down.
Yeah, 100%. It happens right here. Now you're going to see the 3 guys with their hands on the ground. They all shift. The guy who's standing up backs up into a linebacker role. Hurd shifts. They do that a ton, and it was their game plan all along. They were playing an odd man front all night. Here it is. They're showing an even front. They do the shift again on the neck. Still, Hurd doesn't false start this time, but they're still getting into that odd man front. And for those that don't know, an odd front with 3 linebackers makes it much harder to do things like have your tackles pull in the run blocking game. You can't do it, or you get a free rusher from one of the outside guys, whoever's head up on the tackle. And that's the reason why it's given us a lot of troubles, because we like to run a lot of our stuff with the wide splits, and we like to pull our tackles on counters and on traps. All right, 3rd and 12, our first, money down situation.
John Campbell gets whipped on this play. Kitselman is supposed to chip the defensive end. Hurd completely whiffs, and Kitselman completely whiffs on the chip, and Nico has no shot of even getting his ball out.
Yeah. Like you just said, you got Campbell going one-on-one. You got Hurd with Kitselman helping. Should be a good result for us. And you only have 2 other, and you got 3 you got 3 interior linemen, both your guards and your center taking on 2 guys. So you got 3 for 2. You got a tight end and a left tackle for 1, and you got a right tackle one-on-one against not a pass rushing defensive end here. Just a good defensive spin move just wears Campbell out. Actually, he recovers, though, and clears the spot, but the nose guard, the 0, who's been somehow shifted out into the flat, he ends up making the play.
That was just signs of things to come right there. That's your first true drop back pass of the game.
Yep.
And
money down being 3rd and 4 or more are downs where your quarterback has to make you money by completing passes. It's downs defenses want to have you in, of course, and they had us in enough of them, and we didn't perform very well.
And now you look, 42 seconds to go in the first quarter, and we've ran 3 offensive plays to this point.
Yeah. So here we are in 12 personnel.
Yep.
To start the second drive. And they're showing 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. They're in their 3-3-5, basically same look, which I like this going with the H-back and a tight end with his hand on the ground. Should have done more of it. Should have been in basically nothing but it all night long. It's not flashy. It's not gashing you over the top, but it's what we should have stayed in. Now running right straight ahead with no pulls. Don't love it. Wasn't a lot of ingenuity there. Again, we're still in 12. Same exact formation, except Brew doesn't go in motion. Brew just starts on the other side in his normal out on the left hand. This is a play action play on 2nd and 7.
Look at how many people you have to protect, and
this one isn't a true RPO either. This is actually a play action, putting the ball in the running back's belly just to show the fake. It wasn't an RPO. Oh, I'm sorry. I went back a little too far. We'll get back to the to 2nd and 7 here in just a second, and I'll stop it. At the snap,
Play
Now
action.
here you had a 3-2-6 they were in with a nickel star rushing off of the slot. And we have, as you said, running back taking play action and then turning into a blocker, both tight ends. So this is truly a two-man route.
Now Stays leaks out late here when he sees that they're not actually.
He's a block and release guy. Yeah, he's a block and release. Yeah. But really, you have your two outside the number receivers are out. Stays as a late safety valve on the block and release. And even with a blitzer, they still have 5 defensive backs in coverage against 2 because they're in a 3-2-6. And you got Spraggins and Campbell getting moved pretty well by one guy.
And you got Hurd up top getting almost again coming around the corner. If Jackson doesn't slip, I mean, he's coming around that corner.
This wasn't great by Sampson right here either. Sampson gets over here where their best defensive player, number 40, is coming off the edge, and Hurd's got him one-on-one. Right here, you would like to see Sampson just pop him in the jaw.
Yeah,
just Sampson go right here and hit that guy in the sternum with everything his shoulder has to offer and stun that guy.
Yeah, help your tackle out there, you know?
Yeah, yep. And I'm not sure what Sampson – he turns his head. And like you said, here is Kitzelman's leaked because he was blocking release, and so is Stays. So they both block and release. But we ended up getting the ball off on a nice gain out to Squirrel on a deep comeback. Actually, a really good play. Again, the only thing I can say about that play is I would like to have seen Sampson pop 40 in the mouth.
And you're still in 12 here because you're hurrying up.
12, they're back. They've subbed back in. They've brought a linebacker back in for the 6th defensive back, so they're back in a 3-3-5. Now, here, as you see, we do pull a guard. You still can't pull a tackle. Yep. We're pulling a guard because you cannot pull your tackles because this guy comes free if Hurd pulls. If this tackle pulls, this guy comes free. You can't do
and
that.
Right here, you have 7 blocking, 3, 6. You have 7 blocking 6 on this.
And it's 7 big blocking 6. But it's actually a little too much inside. It still gets you 4 yards. We'll take that most nights and be okay with it. You know, I'm getting us in 2nd and 6. That's you're still on schedule. I would like for that play have been to be a little bit maybe going wide of the right tackle instead of inside the tackle. But with the puller, I think it would have been better if it would have been a little bit wider.
And now you come out, start the 2nd quarter, and now you're back in. Looks like you're back in 11.
Correct. Yep. Came back out, and now I think it's just Stays is in the ball game, I believe. Could be Kitzelman. But yeah, we're back. We got a stacked formation at the top. For whatever reason, we went back to 11 when we had moved the ball well enough in 12.
Yep.
Now, you did it because you wanted to go bubble on 2nd and 6 with the blocker in front of Squirrel. No, sorry. We were in 12.
Yeah,
you have Stays out there at receiver. So he's out at a split end position, not at a tight end. So, yeah, we were still in 12. Works pretty well. I mean, right now you're thinking, okay, we're on a pretty good drive. It's our 2nd drive of the ball game. Worst case scenario, we should get in the field goal range.
You know, your first drive was stalled because of the penalty. It got you behind the sticks from the very beginning.
2 penalties.
And now on this drive, you feel like you have something kind of going here. Like you found some kind of momentum. You're moving the football. You're getting positive yardage.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, just think if we would have got 3 points in the first half. Now, this is on Nico on this play. This is the first down. This is our 2nd first down of the drive. We're in plus territory. Nico missed Kitzelman. like being open immediately. You can see Kitzelman right now. He's wide open right now, but he was open off the snap. They blitzed from the middle of the field where Kitzelman was running right into, and Nico was still looking wide.
And
this is one of those. This is one of the plays the other night where that was completely on Nico.
Yeah, and there's a video on Twitter of this play from the All-22, and I believe this is Brew at the bottom of the screen. This is where Nico's looking, and Brew, right as the pressure is getting into Nico's face, Brew's coming open by about a step or two on the DB that's on him, and that's where Nico was kind of really looking the entire time until the pressure got to him, and then his eyes went away from that.
Right, and I get what he's looking at. He's not expecting blitz, but as a quarterback, the thing that's got to happen quickly for him is he's got to start recognizing blitz. And when there's a blitz, you can't wait for your long developing route to happen. You have to go to a hot. And Kitzelman's been your hot right there. And
this goes back to what, we were saying before we started this, which is, some of these plays, it is the offensive line. On some of these plays, Nico has to learn he's got to get rid of the football. I mean, as you point out, one, Brew's coming open, let it rip, throw it. Two, okay, if you don't think he's open, then get to Kitzelman there in the middle of the field and get rid of the football and gain some positive yardage.
I'm going to let this run, but I believe everybody, real quick, I believe all these guys, I believe they all come. Maybe one doesn't, but I think Kitzelman ends up with this man right here that I'm Xing. I think that's who he ends up in coverage with. So let's see here. I may be wrong.
No, you're right.
The one guy, this linebacker stays to spot. He's spying Nico to see if Nico takes off, and he's a late rusher. This guy lets Kitzelman go. I mean, right now you got to throw this ball just over top of. You got to throw it right out here to the hash. It's got to be thrown right here on this line. Nico's eyes never get there, but his eyes should be right here, making the throw right here really quickly. He's got to get to that. He's got to get to recognizing blitz quickly. Or like you said, he's got to just throw it up to Brew one-on-one and just something we don't do, and I think it's just a staple of the offense. We don't throw jump balls up very often.
No.
We throw balls where we have separation, and Heupel has scheme somebody wide open on a deep shot, or at least 3 or 4 yards of separation. We don't just snap it and throw fades and let our guy go in a jump ball very often. And right here might have been one of those times. Just throw it up. If you're not gonna find the hot, then just throw the ball up and live with it. And live with Brew winning a jump ball. He's got size on most everybody. Let's continue. Let this play.
Right here, Brew right here is coming. I mean, he's coming free. And Nico sees the pressure coming, and he just doesn't feel comfortable enough to just let it rip to Brew. And as you pointed out, I mean, Kitzelman's right there in the middle of the field.
Kitzelman, even right now with this defender barreling down, if his eyes get back to Kitzelman and he didn't throw it to Brew, if he just gets his eyes back to the middle, he's got an easy, probably a catch and another 12 yards.
Yeah.
He's got to get that ball back to him. Right here, he turns his head, and Kitzelman's still open, and his eyes came down. He's got to keep his eyes in the middle of the field when it's there. Okay, we'll let it play off. We know we end up getting sacked, and this destroys the drive because now you're in second long, and our offense is not an offense that's built to be behind the sticks. Our offense is predicated on getting 3 and 4 yards on first down or big play.
Here, they're walking somebody in late, right? And you motion Kitzelman in, and they still have 5 in the box.
Yeah.
Against your 6, Kitzelman is standing in the block, so you have 6 on their 5 in the box.
Right. Yep. But it's a handoff. And that's the truth about us. It's what's going to happen once teams get us in behind the sticks. We're going to hand the ball off the majority of the time. We're not going to drop back and throw it. So now we got 5 yards back, and we're in 3rd and 11.
Hey, Rusty. Hey, hey, Rusty. I think you're muted. I can't hear anything.
Sorry, my
There you
bad.
go. You're good.
Right there, we were in 11 because we got behind the sticks, and he went back to 11 personnel, which I kind of get. We run the draw play, which I get 3rd and 11 draw plays. What we don't very often do is we don't throw true running back screen passes, your traditional screen passes. We don't throw them in 3rd and longs. We don't throw them in. The last time I remember one working beautifully was year 1, Hooker's first road start at Florida. We threw to Tyreek Evans. Is that the running back that went to Louisville? We threw a true screen pass to him pretty early in the ball game, and it went for a 60-yard touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we don't throw them often enough. We don't catch teams bringing pressure with screens. It's not something we do, and it probably wouldn't have worked right there. They probably would have been alerted to a screen, but I'd like to see us use them every now and then just to see if we can get teams honest. Third possession now, correct? Is this 3rd possession or is this 4th?
3rd possession.
3rd possession of the half, and it's 1:51 to go in the half. So we've touched the ball twice in the first half. It's almost over. A lot of that is because prior to this 3rd possession, we had pinned them deep. We'd got them to make a penalty from like the 6-yard line to go half the distance to the goal. We almost safetied them. The running back just did a good enough job to get the ball out of the end zone. We get them in 3rd and 15 from their 1-yard line, which means we're going to get punted back to with about 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. And on 3rd and 15, we don't cover the running back in the flat and let him catch a simple swing pass and scamper for the first down. And then they continue the drive all the way across midfield, settle for a field goal, and they miss it. But what it did do was take 8 minutes basically out of the ball game where we could have been running offensive plays because we did not force a punt. That would have came with the kicker, his heels standing on the end line, trying to avoid getting safety or a punt blocked, or Squirrel catching a punt around midfield, assuming he does catch it, not let it hit the ground and bounce and roll 30 yards.
Yeah, gives you great field position. It gives you an extra possession in this game that mattered. It mattered in the end. It's just and we didn't have this clipped in. We're just kind of doing the offensive plays. But going back, I mean, Aaron Carter he busted on that play. It's just
he did. If you watched that play, I'm sure we can break that down before the week's out. He ends up covering 6 yards from the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field on 3rd and 15.
Yep.
No defender should be there. Every defender should be either in a zone that they're designed to be in or taking the player that runs through their zone, which was the flat by the running back running the swing. But even if you're Carter and you don't do that, you still probably should have been 10, 11 yards from the line of scrimmage when the ball's thrown, because you probably cut the running back off before he gets to the sticks if you're there.
Yeah.
But he ended up, not only did he end up not doing his job, he also ended up 6 yards from the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. Let them catch 100 passes on 3rd and 15, 6 yards in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
We would take that all day. Nevertheless. Okay, we're back in. We are in Stays at tight end. We're at 11.
On this play, I don't know what the call was, because if you go back and start it from the beginning, our receivers don't even do anything. Stays is looking back at Nico like what's going on here. He's not even really running a route. Nico sees it. I mean, our guys.
Okay, so we would have to see. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. My bad.
You're good.
We would have to see the top of the screen because clearly Stays and Brew are dummy routes. They're not doing anything. And Nico's looking at them, but I don't believe they were really part of the play. Whoever were the top guys at the top of the screen, those where he initially looked, Nico's eyes, they had something called that was supposed to be a one read play. Watch him. As soon as the ball snapped, his eyes go to the right.
Yep.
Because they were throwing a bubble, a slant, something, and he didn't like it. And once he did that and it wasn't there, these guys aren't running real routes. They're just keeping guys occupied on this half of the field. So yeah. And at that point, he could have thrown it to Stays right now. I mean, he can throw it. I mean, it's 1st and 10. Stays is open. If he just throws a dart to Stays right here, it's probably a 6-yard gain, worst case scenario. But I don't know if he felt like Stays wasn't paying attention because he wasn't part of the real play. Stays runs on through the zone into the other defenders. That probably could have drawn a flag because he slid and it did draw contact after the slide, and that's pretty much going to happen most of the time. Nevertheless, he got 2 yards out of what was kind of a busted play.
Yeah. Yep.
Still in. Now, here is something interesting. We pull a tackle, but they may have been in a 4-man front, and we were able to. I don't know. Let's look. Let's pause it. They're in a 3-man front. So it looks like the 40, their best player, it looks like he's not actually head up on Hurd on this play. So we elect to pull a tackle. He's head up on the guard. He is. So Spraggins kicks out. Because 40 was lined up close enough to him to where he could get to him, and it allows Hurd to pull. Sampson didn't read the hole quite as well as you would like for him to. Sampson should have followed Hurd through the hole. Sampson went basically a gap up Cooper's rear end when he should have been. It's probably the only bad run decision that Sampson right now should have been going right behind Hurd. Hurd could kick this out. If you kick this defender out, this defender who's at the yellow line is the person that's having to tackle Sampson. If Sampson just goes through this hole right here.
Yep. See,
I mean,
the hole's there. The hole was there.
If Sampson would have just followed Hurd's butt cheek. And Sampson's usually great about that. He just misread one.
This, so far, looks like it's the first play where Arkansas is showing simulated pressure, where they're coming up, they're walking up. Every other time they've had 3 down, they've had 2 linebackers, 3 linebackers, or 2 linebackers and a nickel. They've not really shown anything as far as coming in the A gaps or anything like that. So 3rd and 6, and this is the first time they're showing pressure like this.
Yeah, and it's the first time I can recall actually having 4 hands on the ground for real. They're showing a true 4-man line with 2 linebackers. They're in a 4-2-5 right now. Now one of those guys, I'm guessing the guy at the top's actually a linebacker, but nevertheless, they're 4 hands on the ground. They're in an even front with 2 blitzers. Two linebackers walked up into the A gap. And they're just running a straight 4-man rush with all droppers. They're playing. Didn't see what was going on in the back end. It looks like they're playing single high. They're either in cover 3 or they're in cover 5. I got to see it roll out before I know if it's 3 or 5. They are in cover 3. 1 safety in the middle, 2 bottom corners in 3 with your 3 underneath. Yeah, they're in a straight 4-man rush with cover 3.
And on this one, really good job by Nico getting the ball out quick. Brazil getting the ball out quick, picks up a first down on 3rd and 6. But if you also go back, I think it's Hurd again. He gets whipped on a play and gets pressure right into Nico's face.
Is it Hurd on this side? Is it 40 beats Hurd?
He's beating right there.
Sampson not blocking anybody, and 40's their stud. Sampson should be helping out on 40. Now, I don't know if that's Sampson's fault or if that's blocking scheme fault, but everybody else is picked up. And if Sampson just slides right here, 40 has to, at worst case, run him over and trip.
Yep.
And Nico probably could have held the ball. Nico doesn't even know the pressure's coming, so he wasn't changing his decision.
Yep.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And this is a good job of, okay, on this play, Nico seeing it and just being confident in it and is letting it rip. And he threw that before Brazil came out of his break. And
No,
that's a good confident throw there on 3rd and 6. There's going to be a play here soon where it's kind of the same scenario, but our receiver up top is running a comeback and it's there, but Nico's not confident in it and he doesn't just let it rip. If he lets it rip when the guy's coming out of his break, it's a completion. It's probably a first down, but he doesn't. He just hesitates for some reason.
No, you're totally right. Here we're showing 4 wide. Now, of course, Kitzelman at the bottom, he's actually, we're in 11 personnel still, but we're in 4 wide. Don't know a whole lot of what you can do with having your tight end outside the numbers to the wide side. He's basically somebody they don't have to really cover at this point. Are you with me on that?
Yeah.
He's not a vertical threat out here. He's not really a threat to run a post and be putting any stress. So, don't love that aspect of the play pre-snap that you have your tight end outside the numbers to the wide. I would have been fine with him outside the numbers to the short side because then you can have him come block, throw squirrel a bubble, and have him follow the tight end. That's okay. And Bruce in here something about that doesn't seem right to me. But nevertheless, let's see what happens. Straight 4-man rush again. I think in 2 minutes they decided to go 4-man rush because they assumed we were going to be passing the most and we weren't going to be running our traditional run to set up the pass offense. So they went to a 4-man base or an even front.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately here, due to the camera angle, we can't see what all's going on. Kitzelman does run a 12-yard stop and he's wide open. They thought the same thing that I did, which is we don't have to cover him.
Yeah.
So Heupel proving me wrong that it did work because they just didn't buy into that being something we would do. Now you got us back with Kitzelman in the slot to the short side and Brew out wide. Squirrel and Brazil, I believe, at the top. Again, we're in really good shape to go into the halftime 3-all. That means after those 2 touchdowns, we're up 14 points. And the math in the second half works out a lot different.
Yep.
If we could have just got 3. Mainly after that throw to Thornton, we're kicking a field goal to win the ball game if that happens. Although they wouldn't have went for 2, we would be kicking a field goal to tie the ball game. Again, hey, Kitzelman's open on the quick out from the slot. Now we're in field goal range. I don't believe that's our field goal range, but it says that right there we can make a 56-yarder or maybe a 57-yarder. Now, I don't know that I buy that.
Now you're in 2nd and 3, 41 seconds to go in the half. You still have all 3 timeouts. Plenty enough time to get at least in better field goal position to tie this game up at halftime. Potentially get into the end zone, take the lead going into halftime, and we'll see here in a minute. Again, a penalty derails the whole thing. I think this is the play right here.
There's Spraggins holding late, which that would have been fine. No, that wasn't actually the penalty. That was just Spraggins did hold, but Nico got outside it. That's one where Nico probably should just run to the sticks.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's here. Spraggins has held this guy and done a good job and got away with it. And if I'm not mistaken, at this point, no, maybe Nico wasn't going full speed and just running, thinking I'm going to run for the orange stick up here, thinking I'm just going to run around all these guys. But if he'd have been full speed, he might have got outside.
So now you have that.
Still in trotting, I'm passing, not trying to go full speed. 10's going to cut him off, but he's probably going to end up with a yard gain, maybe 2. But never. I think it was what it was.
And now you go into 3rd and 3, 34 seconds left. I'm pretty sure this is where Campbell gets hands to the face on Jackson.
Yeah. Again, 40's the top of the screen, right? This is 40 right here.
Yep.
Sampson should be over here helping.
No, this is false start.
Pre-snap on, was it Campbell on this one? Or was it? Oh, was this the illegal snap? Or no, this wasn't the illegal snap. This is. I have no idea. I don't see anybody moving before.
Oh, we called it.
Was it? Oh, it was a delay of game timeout. I think we must have took a timeout right there.
Yep.
So we took our first timeout because we were about to get a delay of game. We were about to get a delay of game.
After an incomplete pass. So
yeah. Don't understand that.
Still, 33, 34 left. You have 2 timeouts. You can still get in a decent field goal range here, tie the game up. Right here's the hands to the face, and Nico gets blown up, and you have a guy open.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably a completion to Squirrel and 10 decleating, but nevertheless, now we're back in 3rd and 18 because of the 15-yard penalty. All you can do here is
even if you were in the fringe of field goal range at that point to at least attempt something, now you can't even attempt anything.
Yeah. I have the question of, was there anything going on with the game plan this week where none of the shovel passes that we use were used in long distances? Hand it to Nico. He did a really good job right there of escaping pressure, finding the running back out of the backfield. Dylan does a pretty good job to get it close back to field goal range. I don't know where that green line is coming from. I don't think we're kicking the football unless we're at least to the 35.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's their – but Sampson did about as good a job as you could have hoped for. I mean, he did a really good job on this play. Nico and him both did a good job. Now we're starting the 3rd quarter, and we are in 11 personnel. Out of the half, can't believe we didn't go into the halftime and say, we are getting into 12. Guys, our entire 20 minutes of the halftime, we are getting into 12, second half, guys. And as long as they stay within 3 hands on the ground, we are going to continue to be in 12 and punch them in the throat.
Yeah. And again, a lot of things that I'm seeing too, going back and rewatching this is the numbers advantage have been in the box for us to run the football a lot, and we're still not lining up, in 12 or running it right at them. I mean, we've had decent success when we're handing the football off, getting positive yardage, getting 3 yards, getting 4 yards, turning it into 2nd and 5, second assist, make it more manageable. And we're still, kind of throwing the football. I mean, the story tells itself at the end of the game. Arkansas ran the ball, I think, 12 more times than we did, and we outrushed them by like almost 30 yards and had almost 5-6 yards per carry. We should have been handing the ball off more than what we were, especially with, again, the pressure getting in Nico's face, Nico not seeing it correctly. And these 2 drives we're getting ready to see right out of halftime, you know what we did? We handed the football off, and we went and scored 2 touchdowns out of it.
Yeah, that last drive, we had it in quote-unquote field goal range, according to that green line. We were in field goal range on 2nd and 3, and we dropped back twice. With 3 timeouts and almost a minute left, like 46 seconds, which is an eternity, you could have ran it 2 or 3 times to end that. After that 2nd and 3, you would have definitely been in field goal range because we'd have picked up 4 or 5 both times. You might have busted one. I mean, it wasn't a great night.
And that goes back to what I said to start this is, it was 3 things. It's the offensive line on some plays. It's Nico not seeing on some plays. And sometimes it's the play calling of, and like you said, 2nd and 3, 46 seconds left, 3 timeouts. You're on the fringe of field goal range. Hand the football off. See if you can't pop for 3 or 4 yards to get you the first down, to get you into field goal range. You still have 3 timeouts. But no, we dropped back twice, and we went backwards.
What have we not seen a single time in this ball game so far? What's one thing this offense can do, and we've seen it do under the 2 previous quarterbacks and all the quarterbacks at Central Florida before that, and the quarterbacks at Missouri? What is one thing we have not seen a single play of in a half of football? I mean, I know we only had 3 possessions, but what has not happened once?
I mean, I haven't seen anything with anything designed for the quarterback in the run game.
That's it. Not a single Not a
Nothing.
single designed quarterback run play. And it don't even have to be a designed quarterback run play. It can be a run play like what we're about to do, where Nico has the option to take the ball out of his belly and go. So Mr. Mike linebacker and Mr. Will linebacker, who are flowing to the ball, have to worry about Nico coming right down here. Now, this isn't a run play. That's actually an RPO that Nico read correctly. Nice play on first down. But you're right. Not a single time have we done anything with Nico in the run game.
And again, numbers advantage, in the box. It's 5 against our 6 in the running game, just like it was on first down. Now, on the first down play, he made the right read here, and he threw it to Brew at the bottom of the screen to turn it into 2nd and 5, and that's great. But same thing here.
You got 3 guys rushing, 2 guys basically spying against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pass blockers, and the pocket's getting a little too close to him.
Yep.
Nico does a good job. Brew doesn't do a real good job of catching that ball and not coming back too far because he ends up short of the first down. You'd like to see him settle right there when he catches the ball and back into the sticks.
Now, looks like 12 personnel right here.
Was it? I'm sorry. I didn't look.
Yeah. Kitselman and Stays both in the game.
Yeah, we're back. We're back in 11. So for 3rd and 1, we brought in 12 personnel to push them around. Worked.
And here comes Arkansas bringing pressure late, and we pull it and rip a screen. That's a good read by Nico there. Seeing the pressure coming in late.
He blows up Thornton's leg on the play, which luckily was just a thigh. He just need him in the thigh. Wasn't knee.
Pulled your guard here.
Here got guard pull. Everybody else blocking down across. Every guy blocking down. You just want this guy to flow a little bit. You got counter coming back. Play fake the counter. Had the nice job of Spraggins making it look like counter. Need a better throw right here. Need a better throw. That receiver's technically open in college football. You throw it to where he can get his hands on it. He's the only one who can get his hands on it. He's got to make a tough catch, but it's at least catchable. Got to have a better throw right there. This is beautiful. I hope we have the shot behind the play. This is with 11.
Yep.
Kitselman does a really good job on his kick. They're again still staying with basically 5 in the box, 6 in coverage. And we finally get one of their defenders to make a false step, and Sampson does an unbelievable job with the cut to the right when he gets in the hole, and the safeties. He's got him and the safety are eye to eye, and he just makes him look foolish.
This is a really good job by the offensive line. Really good job by Kitselman kicking his guy out, creating the hole, creating the seam. Looks like Cooper getting up to the second level to get the linebacker, taking the linebacker out of the play.
Yeah, I'm sure Arkansas is not having a bad time watching film today or this week, whatever. But this defender should have been in this gap. This gap's occupied by a blocker and a defender. This guy's occupying this one. This safety still got this area of Sampson. If this defender doesn't cut it off right here, this guy, if he's right here, it ends up being a 4-yard gain, maybe a 3-yard gain. But luckily, this guy comes over here. He's the guy that Sampson just makes look foolish. Sorry about that.
Yep.
So that guy came here, and once he does, Sampson just makes an absolute, one of those things you can't teach, where he kicks it right out here. 8 took himself out of the play, basically.
I was kind of surprised to see him get chased down from behind.
I am a little too. Slaughter's a fast dude, and I'm not sure that Dylan was in his full sprint. It didn't seem like he was completely had the gas of the floor.
Our first trip inside the red zone here, handed off right up the middle.
Yeah, it's the the seam was really, really small that Sampson got really skinny when he ran through it from the behind the play. I don't know if we see it from behind the play, but I mean, it's no room to squeeze through, and he just made himself so tiny.
Now you're up 7-3. Defense got off the field. Get your offense the ball back. You have some momentum here. Yeah, this is the one right here where I was talking about earlier, where I said, Nico, just let it rip. Like, if you go back and look at the top of the screen, you got your receiver running a comeback, and if he lets this ball rip like you should when he's breaking, so clean pocket right here, it's there.
Yeah, right there. If he throws the ball here, it's a 12-yard gain.
Yeah, and he for some reason he's not confident in making. I mean, that's a throw that he makes every day in practice, and for some reason he's not letting it rip on this.
Because you clearly have the Arkansas guy in a back pedal with a good at minimum. There's 2 or 3 yards of space for him to throw the ball right here, and only his guy can get back to it. And
today, I'll put this up on Twitter. And today, somebody, a couple people were trying to say that 8 there is gonna pick that off. He don't have the angle. If Nico's throwing that towards the sideline on the comeback, the guy coming into the box there doesn't have that angle to pick that off. Yeah, there was multiple people. Multiple people said today that this 8 coming in is going to pick this ball off on this comeback up here. How is he going to pick the ball off? Where's he picking it off from? Yeah.
This guy?
Yeah.
No, the balls get – so Nico is taught when you throw that deep comeback, you throw it about 2 yards short of where the receiver's standing right now. So that ball's going to be thrown – let me get a line here. This ball's going to be thrown on this trajectory. This guy's got 0 chance. The ball's not being thrown. The ball's not being thrown here in front of him. It's being thrown over here behind him to his back shoulder.
And as you mentioned, you got separation. The DB's in his back pedal.
Oh yeah,
receiver's coming out of his break. Nico's got to let that ball go. Let that ball rip right there.
Yeah, I haven't seen. This is the first time I've seen this view it. But yes, that ball, the red line that I'm throwing on. I mean, it'll be a little straighter than my line, but nevertheless, it should be thrown to right where it's pointing. And Brazile catches that ball, and there's a chance if he makes that defender miss after he catches it, he's housing it.
He's gone. There's nobody back there. Nobody.
Right.
Like, you got to let that ball go.
One guy miss in space, it could be housed.
Yep.
Nevertheless, but Nico didn't turn it loose. It is what it is, and he ended up gaining. I think he got 2 or 3 yards. I mean, worse things have happened. We didn't hold or get a. Illegal hands to the face or any of that type of stuff. Okay, 2nd and 6. How are we on time?
We're at 58 minutes.
Are you checking the comments, by the way?
No.
Still in 11 personnel. 3rd and 6. I believe we're going to get. This is a hands to the face penalty. No. This is just a complete. This is actually a really well thrown ball. That may have been the ball he thrown into the tightest coverage all night long. How's everybody like that? Trying to check comments. I'm checking. J-Mo, we're going to have a third party come in here and be producer and deal with the comments. We got Chase, Donald Payne. Good stuff from everybody. Thanks for listening in, guys. Donald, Chase, Joshy. Chase, you're right on the money. Design quarterback run is what I was asking J-Mo about. Yeah, 100%, guys. I'm kind of tackle there. This is, I mean, I want to look at this one real quick, but just be really, really quick with it. If I could learn how to execute better. So right now,
tackle Davis.
Yeah, we got. They're doing the whole. This guy, they're in a 3-man front with a linebacker walked up. This is about as heavy as their box got right now, because you could say they got 8 in the box right now. They definitely got 7 in the box. Yeah, and we ran it out of 11. Not sure why you wouldn't have checked out of this and maybe just took a shot with whoever the wide guy is at the bottom of the screen, because you have single coverage at the bottom of the screen for just a jump ball. But We score on this drive. Hard to argue with anything on this drive. It ends up working out.
Get some positive. I mean, you get some positive yardage on first down, turning it, I think, 2nd and 7. Yep, 2nd and 7.
This is where he misses the throw to Brew, I believe. And he also gets hit in the face. Yeah,
yep.
That's it. He's throwing his deep balls a little flat. He's got to put a little bit more air in those balls and give his chance. His receivers have the advantage if you put a little more air under it.
Pulling
really nicely done with the pull. What you had? You had a CG pull right there. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Center and guard pulling around. Everybody else blocking down. Hurd blocking down. You have Kip as your lead blocker coming out. Really good. I mean, a really good play call. Really good play design. Really good job by the offensive lineman getting to the guys, kissing me, getting to the second level, and getting the guy creating a hole for Sampson to run through.
This
really good block here by Kitzelman to get a piece of that guy, just enough of that guy to allow Sampson to get to the goal line and just.
Hey, it's 14-3. We got to win the football game at that point.
Yep. Your defense gives up a touchdown. Now it's 14-10. 4:31 to go in the third quarter, and you're running the ball again.
Running it pretty well.
1st and 10. Bishop. No, 13, 14 yards.
I'm gonna let it play a lot till the last drive.
Yep. And then we get a 1st and 10, great pickup, and we throw the football on 1st and 10. And Nico's having to escape the pocket.
He actually does well on that.
He does well.
His best run of the night, which I don't know how you feel about it. I don't like my quarterback taking hits when he's running off schedule, when it's a scramble, and I don't like him taking hits in the pocket. I don't mind him taking hits when it's a designed run play because he generally is expecting contact. It's more on freelance plays or sitting still in the pocket when you don't know what's coming and you don't know you're about to hit. Those are the plays I don't like getting hit. I don't think you're protecting that much from taking 3 or 4 running plays out of the ball game for him that are designed, or at least what he can pull.
And then here you have the numbers advantage inside the box. You have plenty of space up top. I mean, the DB's playing 10 yards off your receiver.
Was that a read right there? Was Nico allowed to pull that, or was he just showing he could?
I think he was showing that he could. And your receiver up top. Your receiver up top. Yep.
Look here. Oh, 74. You have no business going and blocking that guy. 74. You should be eyeing the guy out to the right. Your eye should be here. Just go get in his way, and it gives Sampson a chance to play off of your hip.
Yeah, because if he goes up there and grabs him and Sampson cuts inside on that block, there's a seam there and a hole there for him to pick up even more yards on what he got.
Yep.
Pull in your guard here. Play action.
Pancake the guy. He just has to get in his way a little bit. This is bad by Nico. Can't do this. Cannot take the sack right
there. Bishop completely whiffs.
He does. There's no doubt about it. This is a whiffed block. Went back too far. Apologize for that. Come on. Okay.
Yeah, Bishop completely.
Let's see where we are on the receivers. This right here should be a curl route. Right here. He should just be stopping with that much space, and Nico should be letting it rip.
And actually, he's still open.
It's still there on the end breaker. He's throwing he's running a dagger. Nico's got to turn that ball loose and throw it right at his chest.
Yep. He's just not letting it rip. I think the pressure and the hurries and the bodies around him at this point, that's 2 throws there where he's got to just let that ball go, and he's got people in his face, and he's not confident in just letting it rip.
Yeah, he's got to throw that dagger right there. Oh, that was hard to watch because that's a sack that takes you, 6 yards deeper than you would have been in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And if he throws the dagger, you're probably 1st and 10 at the 31.
Yep.
Oh, he's got to let that rip.
Right here, Garrett gets whipped. Pressure Nico's face.
Right there. I mean, his head's not up, but he has a touchdown pass to Kitzelman. The defender, if he just keeps his eyes downfield, well, the defender's too close. If he somehow can keep his eyes downfield, he can just dump it to Kitzelman, and Kitzelman's still running. Now, I know there was too much going on around him. Don't want to watch the all 22 of this. Guess I can.
That Carrick just gets whipped. And then look up top. The guy's wide open. If there's no pressure, I mean, that's a 20-yard gain.
Yeah.
So now, and right here, you've seen 2 plays where Nico wouldn't let it rip. You've seen 2 plays where the pressure has gotten to him. It's not been just one. And what's Sampson doing right here? Why is he not following Hurd? He cut this inside into where Hurd's coming around. Look. Where's Sampson going?
Yeah, you got Kitzelman coming out here in motion that he's going to take about 2 defenders. Hurd's going to mollywop that guy. And if Sampson just bounces it right here with him, you're right. It's a nice game.
If Sampson comes off of his hip, comes around, I mean, he ran right into everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good pickup on first down. It's a good pickup on first down. It's 2nd and 5, but still, he didn't read that correctly. He's got to, come around, come off Hurd's hip. There's room on the outside.
Yep. No, you're right. If he just follows Hurd, it's probably a 12-yard gain. Assuming one of their smaller defenders makes the tackle. Good play right here. Everything done correctly. Brazil blocks it right. Squirrel does a good job. If it's okay, I'm just going to jump forward a little bit in the ball game.
Yep. Here's where he misses Squirrel for a touchdown.
Yep. That's what I'm trying to get to. So here it is. You're actually running the switch route. You're running the post with the wheel. You get Nico sees even you're leaving. He throws it up. This ball's got to be thrown with more air. So right now, this football, when it's in the air, it can land anywhere between the 27 and the 21, and it's probably a catch. It can't land on the 12 because then you give your receiver no chance. Even if he underthrows it by like 3 or 4 yards, it still is the offense's advantage if he does it. You just can't overthrow it.
Here's the
ball
22. Yep. The offensive line does a good job picking up the pressure. Sampson picks up the pressure. It's there. I mean, it's there. It's there. He overthrows it.
Yeah, you just again, if you underthrow it, what's the most likely going to happen if you underthrow it by about 2 or 3 yards?
You got 1 or 2 things. It's incompletion, or if a receiver slows down enough and he gets run over, it's pass interference.
Most likely it's pass. The most likely scenario, if you underthrow that ball, it's a PI. Yep. The next thing would be an incompletion, and you still might catch it if it's underthrown a little bit. But if you overthrow it by 5 yards, nothing good can happen. Yep. Now, what I like for him to hit him perfectly in stride while he doesn't even have to make a second move and just keep on running, that'd be great. But I'll take the underthrow all day long on that and be okay with it.
Got to put more air under and give your receiver a shot.
Yeah,
something.
You have to throw it up, not out. You have to drop your back shoulder and raise your front shoulder to where you're throwing it up, not out. All right. I can't watch much more until the last drive because how do you feel about it?
So my only complaint is, if you want to go back just real quick before this drive here, when it starts, my complaint on this would be
false start.
First and 10, 4:06 to go in the game. You have 2 timeouts. You're up 14-13. All right, let's let it play through here. You run the ball on first down. Okay, fine. You pick up a couple of yards. But here's my question. Okay, pause it.
Sure.
What are we doing? 23 seconds to go into play clock. Why are we snapping this football? Why are you hurrying to the line up 14-13 with 3:41 to go in the game, rushing to snap this football? You allow them to have the extra time to drive down the field to put the ball in the end zone to take the lead because you didn't run the play clock all the way down. In the Oklahoma game, you did. In the Oklahoma game, you were almost in this scenario and you ran the play clock down and slowed the game down and chewed up the clock. And then here, you're hurrying this whole drive. You didn't let this play clock get below 10 seconds.
No.
Let it play through and I mean, we're getting to the line. We're hurrying up, getting to the line, snapping the ball, not letting the time run off this clock. I mean, if anything, you're allowing Arkansas to keep their timeouts because you're not having to make them use any timeouts on this drive.
All that's accurate. Although the clock ended up not really, even if we had milked it down to 2 or 3 seconds on the play clock, it really wouldn't have impacted their last drive because they actually scored relatively quick. And we let them score on the last play, of course.
Yeah.
What are we noticing really here? It's a huge thing about this being the drive, our next to last drive. We're in 4-minute drill where we're just trying to get 2 first downs and win the ball game. But what do we notice about where the football is laying right now? It's on the 21-yard line after we've gained a yard on first down. It started on the 20-yard line. Why did the ball start on the 20-yard line? Because the ball on the punt back to us was allowed to land on the ground and trickle from the 44-yard line to our 20. If we catch that ball on the 44 and we don't gain a yard, we're punting them inside their own 10-yard line, more than likely, on their final drive of the ball game.
Yep.
Letting that punt land was a massive, massive, massive part of that football game that hasn't been talked about enough.
Yep.
But yes, snapping in 23 seconds.
23 seconds left.
Heupel said on this drive, we weren't worried about milking the clock. We were trying. That ball's got to be caught. I know Squirrel got banged up on that play, but I'd like to see Squirrel come up with that. If he catches that ball, we might have won the ball game. If that ball was caught or Kitzelman would have caught the next pass, either one of these, we probably win the football game. Both of them were catchable. The second one on Kitzelman, the defender makes a good play, but a great tight end bodies dudes, and his hands are strong, and he holds on the ball. But
Kitzelman has to hold on to this one.
He does. I think he does. But Heupel did say we weren't worried about trying to milk the clock right here. We were trying to go score another touchdown, so we were just running our offense like we normally would. So I don't know that I agree, but that was the plan. It's thrown well enough. I want my big tight end to be strong with the hands.
And here's the last drive.
We have now given up a touchdown intentionally, so we don't have if we didn't, they were going to be kicking a field goal with 19 seconds on the clock, and we would have been down by 1 point and had 16 seconds when the kickoff came to us.
Yep.
So obviously, Nico's about to have his best play of the ball game. Probably there might have been a better play or two. He had some really good plays the other night. It wasn't all bad from 8, not at all. Played really well in some spots. Sampson does a great job right there. Well, Sampson does a good job right there. Nico, I would like to have seen right here. He's got to get better at filling the pocket because right here, he has a huge avenue to run right through here to run it to that SEC logo. He could have been running right at it, probably got about 8 yards and got to the out of bounds.
Yep. And that play right there, and a great job at Sampson of coming over and chipping that guy, but that's the first of like 2 or 3 instances on this drive where Lance just gets whipped.
Really glad right there that Chaz didn't catch that football. There was nothing positive coming out of that. Sampson needs to go sprinting as hard as he can. Right now, he should have thrown the ball to Sampson. Oh, he should have thrown the ball to Sampson. Nico's got to keep his head down. When Nico's breaking the pocket right there, he's got to keep his head. Look at this. When Nico should not be running for the to cross the line of scrimmage. Nico should be delaying and kind of just playing it slow, getting wider. That wider's okay. And stayed this way and made our boy Slaughter come to him. And as soon as he took one false step, he should have put the ball on a lob right here to Sampson running down the sideline. Look at that. Look where Sampson's going right there. If he just lobs it to him a little bit. If he just delays crossing the line of scrimmage for half a second and floats it.
Here's the play where Lance Hurd plays patty cake and just. I mean, I don't know what Lance Hurd's doing here. I mean, it ended up being a big gain, and Nico makes, improvises and gets out of the pocket, and it's the biggest explosive play of the game, but I still don't know what Lance Hurd was doing on that play. I mean, great throw, and even what sucks on this, I think we get the all-22 version of this too. Three things. One, I don't know what Lance Hurd was doing on this play. It's
bad. It's bad.
It's terrible. But even that, Nico improvises, gets out of the pocket, scrambles. If I think we get the all-22 look here, if Nico is able to stop his momentum and set his feet and lead Dante on this throw, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
But because he throws it as he's moving, he's not allowed. He can't get enough on it to lead Dante on this, and it makes Dante slow up and catch and get tackled. Now, 35 seconds to go. We have 2 timeouts.
Real quick, I don't. Before you talk about the clock, because this is the clock situation. This is as bad as it gets. And Heupel admitted in his press conference today. He said I should have. He knows he missed it right here. But I just want to talk about the Nico part of that last play. I don't have any problem with my quarterback getting the ball because he has no idea if 40's within a half step of him. And if he stops and sets without knowing what's behind him, it might be a strip sack. So him turning it loose, I'm not gonna say that I have any kind of problem with that.
Yeah.
Chase Smith just said, get the ball to Sampson, you win the game right there, because it's probably if Nico just delays crossing the line of scrimmage and floats it to Sampson probably hit his head on the goalpost.
Yeah.
But didn't happen. Hey, football's a week-to-week game. All these teams are different week to week. The portal's making everything different because you got Vanderbilt beating Alabama. It's all different these days. You got to be locked in every week. All this stuff's correctable though. Nico could watch this game field and be like, I left about 10 plays on the field. Lance Hurd, I got to get more competitive. I left about 10 plays. I mean, there's all that type of stuff that you can look at that guys can go do just a little bit better. Arian Carter, I cannot miss my assignment on 3rd and 15 from the 1 yard line.
Jordan Ross, you cannot rough the punter.
Yeah, that's the thing about that one is if it's 4th and less than 5, you cannot get near a punter. Because even running into means first down. And that was just running into, and it was really minimal. And if that's 4th and 9, you can be in the vicinity of the punter. And if you get flagged for it, oh well. But when it's 4th and less than 5, you just have to not get in. You just have to go stand near him so he don't keep it and run with it. But you don't go even breathe on him. You just don't.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience. Because that roughing ended up being 3 of their points they got that night. They got 3 points off of us roughing, etc.
Yep. So
here we go.
Big play happens. 35 seconds left. You got 2 timeouts. You're hurrying to the line. The game gets stopped because Arkansas gets penalized for sideline warning. I don't. Go ahead.
This is me asking you. Should the sideline warning have been a ball starts on the snap?
Do you think the coaching staff thought that was the scenario? And
no,
why they
Heupel said that wasn't it. Heupel said he thought the clock was going to run and that they would be snapping the ball with 34 or 33 seconds on the clock. He thought they had the play ready to go and they should have been snapping it immediately, and they didn't snap it till 22. But I guess my question is, it's a warning, so the clock starts when they wind it, not on the snap. If it had been their second and it was actually a flag, a 5-yard penalty, I think it would have been starts on the snap. I got to go look at the rules. By our next show, I'll do my best to know those answers. I thought you just might know, so I just wanted to ask. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll get your opinion on this. This is my opinion. To me, I think you have to use your timeout here. I think you have to use your timeout. You have offensive linemen running down the field to try to get back to the line of scrimmage. It's discombobulated. You have a young quarterback that's trying to understand everything in the situation, know time, down, distance, where you're at on the field. Call a timeout, bring them to the sideline, take a breath, give your offensive lineman a breath, figure something out, understand, and tell Nico, look, the entire field is open here. Middle of the field's open. We have another timeout to use, 35 seconds left. Everything is open here. Find your best option. But instead, you wasted 15 seconds of precious time off the clock because you kept the timeout. You kept the timeout in your pocket.
I could not. I think I hurt my neck nodding in agreement with you. With 2 timeouts in 36 seconds, I'm calling a timeout is my only thing I'm thinking as the coach. I'm not. There's no decision in my head because you have linemen having to run 40 yards. So I'm calling a timeout right there. I know you're letting the defense get set back up, but I'm calling the timeout. Worst case, if you told me I'm not allowed to use a timeout there, I'm spiking it.
Yes.
Immediately. That's and that's it. There's running a play. If you're Heupel, maybe Heupel's right, and you're like, okay, we're going to snap it at 34. Okay, 33. If I see the clock hit 32, I'm definitely calling it by then. That's the only way. You let 3 seconds run off, and we're not snapping it. There's no way it gets to 22. And let's just watch what happens here. 35. Yeah, play clock's already running. Play clock's running. Game clock's not. Yep. Ball's been spotted. We're gonna watch a replay.
Now, as we see this replay here, they start running the clock. The clock starts moving.
Yeah, the clock's been running basically for the last 8 seconds during the replay.
If he leads Dante right there, I know what you're saying about he's got to get it out. But if he could just,
or if he just throws it out, if he just throws it to the close to the sideline, Dante might have just ran out of bounds. Worst case,
yeah.
But he made the completion. It's kind of hard for us to really
yeah.
But now, as we see, we have just snapped the ball. The ball has just reached. The ball has just reached Nico's hands.
22 seconds from the ball snapped.
And we're at 22 seconds. So we lost 14 from whenever Dante caught the ball for the first down. But hey, we got to watch the replay once.
And he misses Kitselman right here.
This has to be a better throw. This has to have a little air on it and land pretty close to the sideline on about the 5 or the 4. I know you're going to probably get him decleated, but if he just throws it out here to the 5, it's a catch, out of bounds, and you're first and goal with 18 seconds to go and 1 timeout or 2 timeouts still. And I don't know if did Kitselman let up.
I think he was worried about getting declared. I think he heard steps.
Did he hear footsteps?
I think he heard footsteps because he short armed this thing.
Nico's got to throw the ball though to the 5. And that's that. Did he stop running? I can't see. I can't find it.
I can't tell where the ball's at.
I can't either. I think the ball actually was low is what actually happened. And it hit the ground. And you can't see it. Okay, so now we're running out. We've ran 1 play post the 36 seconds on the play clock.
Yeah.
Post Dante Thornton catch that ball, and we've lost 19 seconds and 1 down. 19 seconds and 1 down transpired, and we still have 2 timeouts. Can't happen. If you use that, we're at 2nd and 10. If you use the timeout, we're at 2nd and 10 right now with 1 timeout and 31 seconds on the clock. And we would, and guess what? You could still that the run play to Thornton or the run play the accidental run play to Sampson would not have been a terrible thing. because then you would have had it in 3rd and 5.
I'll tell you what I would like to maybe see here, and just tell me if I'm wrong. I would like to see them in this situation to motion Sampson out of that backfield to see if that linebacker follows him. With having 2 timeouts left in 17 seconds, I wouldn't mind seeing them motion him out, seeing if the linebacker goes with him, and maybe calling a QB draw here and telling Nico to get as many as you can and get down. Now, granted, they're out there. You can't really say that, but if that linebacker follows Sampson out and it's 3-on-5 with Nico, I mean, that's the same scenario as the NC State. I mean, it's almost the same thing as the NC State. I mean, it's the numbers game where he follows his blocker up through there. There's 17 seconds. Maybe he gets down to the 12, 10-yard line, gets tackled, calls timeout, 8 seconds to go. I take that scenario from the 8 to 10-yard line over the 20, 25-yard line.
Yeah. I mean, if you send Sampson out there to right behind, I think that who's at the top of the screen, Thornton. If you send Sampson out there and the running back goes with him, you run the quarterback draw. If he doesn't, you throw the bubble to Sampson and have Thornton lead block him and he can get 5 or 6, 7 yards and then run out of bounds.
Yep.
But what we did was, thank goodness we didn't use that timeout, because we use it right here to prevent a delay of game after an incomplete pass. We somehow let 40 seconds come off the play clock and have to waste the timeout here.
I think this is the play where Nico
we got it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the fumble snap. That's just the unfortunate thing. Used our timeout there.
I know, and this is what I texted you about today. This is the big controversy today of a tweet that I put up, and people completely misconstrue my point on what I was saying. I understand, for people that are listening, I understand Sampson is very likely the last read on this play. He's not the first read. It's not where Nico needs to immediately go with the football. I get that. I understand that. My point was, on this whole play here, is if Sampson is the 4th option, why didn't Nico's eyes go there to be able to make that throw? Because he decided his best option was to throw it to Chase, who was completely covered on the play.
In the middle of the field.
Like right here, if he looked covered.
The defender puts his heels on the ground and lets Sampson go. None of these 4 options I'm looking at are good.
No.
Safety valve.
So
safety
you
valve,
have to know.
Safety valve. Safety valve.
Check this down.
Yeah. And again, you're right. It's a touchdown. That's the problem. If he happens to take his eyes off these 4 bad options, the middle option is not great. The corner option is not great. The deep post isn't a great option. It's either throw it to Kitzelman out there and put enough on it to where he can catch it and step out of bounds, or it's so easy just to take your check down.
He's reading this. He's reading this. If you go back to the beginning of it, he's reading this from left to right. He's reading this from the left of the formation to the right of the formation. I understand, again, Sampson is the very last read of this play. But my point was that the option he chose to go to was covered. Take the extra read, flip your hips, check it, it's there, flip it out there into the flat. Worst case scenario on this play, Sampson gets tackled inside the 8-yard line. You still have another timeout to use. You call the timeout, worst case scenario, and you have one last play from inside the 8-yard line. Best case scenario, Sampson beats everybody to the pylon and scores a touchdown.
More than likely, he doesn't get tackled in bounds. He either gets in the end zone or he gets shoved out of bounds. And it's in the clock stops, so you don't get to use a timeout. So here's the thing. I think you're being a little bit kind to anybody that came at you because they're wrong. If they said you're wrong on this, you're right. There's no good options to throw the ball to. There's no positive options. It doesn't matter which read in order it was at this point. It doesn't matter where he started his progression. None of that matters.
Yes.
No good options to throw the football. You gotta at least glance at your check down.
Yes.
That's it. It doesn't matter which option it was. When nothing is good to throw to, and there was nothing good to throw the ball, even if this ball's caught by Chaz, it's still not that great. And
there were even people saying that the linebacker had this covered. The linebacker, from the snap of the football, Sampson already had leverage on the linebacker going out to the flat. The linebacker never had it covered. Is
no.
the thing. If Nico go back to the beginning.
Leverage.
Yeah, he had the leverage on the linebacker running out of the flat. There were people even saying, well, the linebacker had it covered. The linebacker never had this covered. From the snap of the football, Sampson already has leverage on him as he's getting out to the flat. He's already got a step or two on it. Look, I mean, where does he has this? Where's it covered? Flip it out there.
And here's the other thing: it's not just he has the linebacker out leveraged. He also has that linebacker beat at birth.
Yes. Yes.
If the ball's thrown just right now while they're that close, that linebacker's still not getting in Sampson's anywhere near Sampson.
And right here in this pocket, okay, he's reading it left to right. Option 1, covered. Option 2, double covered. Option 3, middle of the field, currently covered. Your fourth option, covered. Your check down out in the flat, flip it out there, he probably scores.
Yeah, this is a very teachable moment because it should be, if you don't see something open, your check down has to be where you go with the football. And if the check down's not there, you throw it over Sampson's head out of bounds and go live to find another play. I would have completing this ball would have been great on the 5-yard line, I guess, but it's really, really high risk, and there's not a whole there's not that ton of much. We have to use our timeout probably, even with it being a sticks move clock stoppage. Now I want everybody to get this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 defenders here. Guess what? That means everything over here between Sampson and the sideline, there's nobody in red. Period. If he just dumps it to him out here, somebody's got to get to Sampson before he gets to that pylon with a blocker for this guy. And this guy way, way too far inside. Again, it's out of bounds or pylon for Sampson.
And also on this play, what would have been a better option throwing that ball to Chase is if you just go back a click where he's standing in the pocket, and this play happened with 17 seconds, 13 seconds or something like that left in the game. Look at the hole and look at the space he has to run to get that ball closer while having a timeout. And this is the last play of the game, 4th and 5, 6 seconds, and he runs out of bounds. But even on that play before, I mean, even if there's 13, 14 seconds, one timeout, your first 3 reads are covered. Take that space that is there, get what you can get down, get a timeout.
Yeah, I will say this about the last play. We've already, by the way, we took a timeout before this play when the clock was already stopped. We used our last timeout not to stop a clock, but on a clock already stopped play. That's unfortunate.
And to your point on that, Rusty, real quick, Brooks Austin said today, or said, I think it might have been Sunday, that that right there, what you just said, was absolutely inexplicable because you took half your playbook off the table right here, because now you have to throw this football to the end zone. There is nothing in the middle of the field that you can do now that you have no timeout. Now Arkansas knows they have to throw this football into the end zone. Whereas before it was 6 seconds, maybe you throw something quick in the middle of the field. Maybe you throw something, and you're able to get down and get it closer. But like Brooks Austin said, you wasted a timeout on a dead ball stoppage when the clock wasn't running. It told Arkansas they have to throw this ball to the end zone. There's nowhere else they can go with the football on the field.
Yep. You can throw a slant, you can throw stays right here, has nobody head up, you can throw a hot that stays right here. He might get you to the 11, to the 10, the 8, and then you get a quick timeout, takes 4 seconds to do, and you got one chance from the 8-yard line, which it's much easier to get the ball in the end zone from the 8-yard line than it is from the 20, whenever they know the clock's against them.
Yep.
The clock's against us. I want to talk about this play because people are going to crush Nico for making a terrible decision. It wasn't a great decision, but the running out of bounds side of it, Nico knows there's 6 seconds on the clock. He's not counting in his head when he snaps the ball 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000. He doesn't know the clock's expiring. All he realizes when he breaks contain is it's 4th down, so I got to get a first and get out of bounds. And hopefully if I get the first down, we'll have a second left. That's what he's thinking in his head. Is I'm getting the first down, and hopefully we have a second left on the clock when I get there. Because, again, as a quarterback in this moment, you don't know if it's 6 seconds when you're getting to the sideline. And he only misses it by like a second and a half, I believe. It's going to be hard to tell in slow motion. But if I remember correctly, I counted it the other day, and it was zeros, 1,000 to whenever he steps out. See, right now the clock hits 0, but it was only a second and a half to right there in real time. So
Yep.
I'll kill the kid for some other stuff. Not kill the kid, but I'll say there was some other stuff that I had problems with that game. Missing Sampson on that swing's huge. Not pulling the trigger on that deep curl when he took off and ran for 2 yards. There's some plays he left on the field. I'm not been out of shape about the last play. I know people are, that he ran out of bounds, and it was what happened against Ole Miss in 2021, all that type of stuff. I believe his thought was first down, hopefully a second's on the clock when I get there. Could he have thrown it up in the end zone for a prayer? Probably. He would have been on if there was another second on the clock, then it's probably you're on the 14-yard line. A little easier to maybe get something harder to defend from the 14 than it is from the 20. Nevertheless, final thoughts on the game altogether.
Yeah, I'll just go back to what I said when we first started this, and I think looking through this, it kind of shown it that it wasn't just Nico, it wasn't just the offensive line, it was a combination of Nico, not being confident and letting it rip at some point. It was the offensive line putting pressure in his face. It was some of the play calling decisions by Heupel. It was the end of the game management decisions by Heupel. That's just on the offensive end. And that doesn't even include us going over anything on the defensive tape or any of that stuff. That could have been different. You and I discussed this on the Twitter space the other day. We didn't even go over this. But the play calling by Tim Banks on that last drive with a freshman quarterback that was not going to throw the football down the field, and you let them run the ball all the way into the red zone to be able to score, that was inexcusable in my opinion too.
Yeah, we should have had 8 men in the box. He thought they were going to come out and they were just going to pitch it around like teams generally do in 2-minute drill, but they didn't have to go that far to be in field goal range.
Yep.
And they had timeouts, so the run game was still readily available. And with the backup quarterback, like you just said, you should have made them throw it over the top against zero coverage to win the ball game at that point. You should have said
because at that point, if you're playing cover one, man underneath, or cover zero or anything, and you're selling out to stop the run, guess what? If they beat you over the top and score a touchdown, instead of getting the ball back with 1:17 left, you're probably getting it back with 2 minutes or 2:30 left. Like I'm not letting them just run the ball down my throat. I would either sell out to stop the run and dare that guy to beat you throwing it over your head, or you're stopping them because they're not going to let him throw the football over your head. I mean, it was a freshman quarterback in that situation. The speed of the game, you could tell, was too fast for him already, and they weren't going to let him throw the ball. I mean, there's so much more stuff. Go ahead.
Here's the other thing about that. If you do go zero and put 7, 8 in the box and just say you're not running it in this 2-minute drill, which I thought in my head immediately, they're gonna hand the ball off a few times here. That's what I was thinking sitting on my couch. They're gonna hand it off a couple times. I mean, they threw the tunnel screen to start, which actually worked really nicely. We didn't defend it at all well, but nevertheless, I expected it. Tim clearly didn't. But if you do go zero and they do throw it over the top and burn you deep for a touchdown, well, we would have got the ball back with like 2.5 minutes left, as opposed to 1:19 left.
Yep.
The clock works in your favor if you make them hit a gash play, as opposed to a death by 1,000 cuts, getting in the field goal range. And then we have to play the Ole, which the quarterback didn't make a great play by going in the end zone there. He left us in the ball game, but thank goodness he did.
Yep. No, we went further tonight than we expected to go, but it was good.
My bad.
When we can do a whole other, if you want to do one later this week, of just talking about just Heupel's scheme and just how the three the odd man front affects that, and have defensive coordinators caught up to this scheme? Have they figured out the numbers game? Have they figured out, I mean, I think we could spend an hour just kind of discussing that, breaking that down, if that's something you want to do later in the week.
Yes, definitely. I want to talk about the quarterback run part of the game. It's got me heated. I mean, this offense does not function at the highest level if you don't have some semblance of designed run game with your quarterback in games that matter. Nico only ran it 3 or 4 times in the NC State ball game, but the 3 or 4 times he did on design plays, they were backbreakers.
Yep.
That took that game from being not close to being, or sorry, took that game from being the Oklahoma type feel game to being gutted.
Yeah.
NC State had no chance. His few run plays put every nail in the proverbial coffin. You got to get him more involved in the run game. Not against, I'm fine with it, not against UTEP or Chattanooga or whoever. When games matter, you got to have some of that sprinkled in with him, and you got to get in 12. If teams continue to go odd front, you got to get in some damn 12 personnel. Want to talk about it a ton more. Want to talk about some of the defense stuff too. A bit further along.
I want to talk about some of the creativity stuff that's been missing out of this offense for the past 2 years too. We saw way more creative stuff in 2021, 2022, way different formational stuff, creative stuff than what we saw the past 2 seasons, and why that may be. But it was fun tonight. It was our first one doing this. Obviously now we plan on doing this after every game and breaking this down, and we'll get a lot better, at this, and have it chopped up better too, so we can look at more at the coverage also, instead of just looking at kind of what's going on the offensive line.
We'll condense the video. We won't be doing like basically every offensive play of a game. We'll start picking out 6 to 10 to 12 plays in ball games that were worth diagnosing. But with this one, we wanted to do the whole scope because it was
there was so much wrong.
It told a story doing all of it. But hey, Chase, Joshy, Donald, thank you guys for putting up questions and comments. Really enjoyed everything you did. Love Jordan Moore for getting this rolling, getting us started doing this. This is going to be a blast. Let's plan on doing this after some W's going forward.
That'd be great. That'd be really good. Hopefully we get more explosive offense through this year, and this will be fun instead of almost dreadful looking at it like this. Hopefully we can see some fun stuff going forward.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off for the night. We will see you back again later in the week for just a little bit shorter of a show, but more discussion and maybe a few video clips.
Yep. All right. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.